So I'm Larry, I'm the owner of VEN 4430. Today's going to be my first attempt at YouTube videos. I'm usually hypercritical of millennials calling YouTubing a career, but nonetheless my friends were all giving me shit for not documenting what I've done so far. So I'll at least do this part. Today we're going to be removing the stock PRV motor and installing a Chevrolet LV3 out of a 2020 Silverado. I was real lucky and found a brand new Silverado. Somebody crashed on the first test drive. This motor's got 6 miles on it. I got the LS transmission conversion from GT Racing out of the UK, and it didn't quite fit. That's about 10 videos worth of modifying that I'm not going to get into. Swap Specialties made me the custom wiring harness and computer for it. I've got headers, a camshaft on the way, and we're going to try to put a supercharger on it as well with a little bit of nitrous. So first off, we got to rip out the old motor and try to weld this thing in there somehow, some way. So here we are, day 2 with VEN 4430. Or if you believe the writing on the cross member I cut off, 4426. So hey, shout out to 4426 out there. If you have one that says 4430 on your back cross member, let me know. So I've removed the engine yesterday morning, and today I've pressure washed the engine compartment, tried to clean it up, and removed the cross member, as you can see, just with the hillbilly butter knife here, the Sawzall, and we're prepping it for the test fit of the 2020 LV3. The reason I had to cut the cross member is the oil sump on the pan drops down quite a bit lower than the bell housing, if you can see. The stock PRV motor having a recess for that cross member, and no one makes an oil pan for this engine. So we did have to modify the frame, but today will be the first test fit. Maybe we can get our motor mount area all mocked up. I only have to do this a couple of times.
Like the cool blue light. Like the cool blue light. Like the cool blue light.
Okay, here we are, day 3. So I only get a couple hours in the morning before work starts to tinker on this thing, but still made progress nonetheless. We are trying to make sure everything fits. The header flange is touching the frame a little bit, so that's going to have to be removed off the header, which is fine. I was already planning on that. I have to put O2 sensor bungs on it anyway for the new motor. So we've got most of the cross member cleared away. I'm gonna have to notch it just another 1.5 inches or so, and then I can start boxing it in. And then also have to decide on how we're gonna mount the engine mounts. They're very adjustable. I've got a wide range of placement, but at least we got the motor sitting at about the right level. It might come down another 1/2 inch or so. But once we do that, we can get the oil pan back to the machine shop. It's getting the sump modified to fit around the cross member. And then once the motor's in there, bolted in permanently, we can start hooking up wires, ripping out all this Radio Shack wiring behind the seat here, and hooking up hoses. Okay, here we are, morning 4. Like I said, I only have a few hours in the morning to tinker on this thing before work starts. But I came in a little bit early to try to make the splice plates and the braces. Here's a template I made that's gonna go right down here in the center. I've cut it out of steel, and I've already slash cut the reinforcements go from the motor mount to the frame here. And you can see where that red line is. That's where the motor mounts are actually going to be. The Dirty Dingo motor mounts I ordered. So today, we'll be cleaning the paint off, trying to break this metal and angle it so it fits in there. Hopefully there's not too much grinding we have to do on that. And hopefully we can get everything tacked in tonight. And then finish weld maybe tomorrow. So here we are, got everything kind of mocked up, tacked in, all the mounts in the right place. The braces slash cut all the way. So all we need to do now is finish weld, and with the help of Steve in there in Houston, he gave me the paint code for the frame. So after we finish weld it, we'll clean it all up, paint it, then we can finally jack the car up in the air, finish weld the bottom, and that will be the last time we put this motor in. So here's a little bit of our progress. We got everything pretty much finished welded and starting to work on primering. A little bit of body filler on a couple of little seams just to make them look pretty. And tomorrow we should be doing a little bit of painting, and hopefully then we can stick the motor in for good, or at least until I scatter it.
On two separate systems, the sounds are blended together to achieve a new dimension in sound, impossible to obtain in a monaural recording.
Here we are with VIN 4430. As you can see, it looks a lot different than the last video. We've got the motor in now, got most of the car's wiring harness hooked up. The car actually even cranks. All the hoses are hooked up. Minus two little AN fittings I'm waiting on. Hopefully those will be here this coming week. And the computer from Swap Specialties. Once I have the computer in, I can hook up the final I think it's 4 wires that hook up to the gauges. And then we can get it started, check for leaks in all the hoses, make sure all the fittings are good and tight. And we even got the oil pan back. Came out just about perfect. And one of the adapters for the air conditioner line still needs to be hooked up. But once we know it runs and it's not leaking, we'll throw it back up on the hoist, finish weld the cross member, and then we can do the exhaust and hopefully even make a sway bar bracket for it. So here we are with VIN 4430 again, doing the final assembly. Joey's Body Shop here in Cedar Park, just finishing up all the paintwork for me. Should have the hatch and the lower lip back today. Even got most of the interior the way I want it, aside from the rear door cards. Still need to be recovered. couple of the trim pieces I'll have to take over there and have painted still. But for the most part, it's ready to go. Give you all a quick peek at the motor of the 2020 Chevrolet LV3 all aluminum 4.3 liter. All the fluids are filled up. Wires, hoses, everything's hooked up. It's ready to run. As soon as I get the computer, just plug and play. Hopefully the next video you guys see will be the car running and hopefully on the dyno getting tuned.